noticing that since the last couple of weeks, a lot of you have been asking me my experience in NIFT and my journey and everything like that. And I realize it's January and February is when the NIFT exams happen. So I can understand a lot of you guys are giving that exam. Best of luck. I hope you do well. I hope you get into NIFT. It's a brilliant college. Now, that being put aside, this video is about my experience of what I, what I felt during the admissions, B, how the NIFT experience was, and C, how post-NIFT experience was. Hi, this is RGV and you're watching RGV Love, where I am the crazy Indian mother. If you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and click that subscribe button because I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. So let's talk about admissions, how difficult they are and how easy they are. Before I begin, I want you guys to understand that I gave my NIFT exam in 2006, which was 11 years ago, which makes me sound so old. So there might be changes in the way the exams are conducted. There might be changes in the exam that is happening. I honestly don't know. I haven't been in touch with what is happening or not. I did have like a conversation with a student last year who was giving the exam of NIFT, so I roughly have an idea of what's going on, but honestly I don't. This is just what I went through. Let's begin with admissions. The NIFT admission of the NIFT exam is fairly simple. If you're, well, partly intelligent, then you would probably be able to give the exam. I'm not saying that the exam is easy and anybody can do it. Not really, it's difficult. It requires logical thinking. If you haven't till now, then I would recommend that you buy books that have like logical questions, even IS books. If you can give NIFT admission, I think you have NIFT admission books available. If you get that, that's brilliant. If you don't, then just buy books that you buy for IS exams, because at least like when I was there, it was 10th key like maths up till I can't speak today. Blah, 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 blah. At least when I gave the exam, it involved questions from maths till 10th class, which involved a lot of ratio and percentage questions and a lot of logical thinking questions. So logical thinking, if you can't get NIFT admission books, then simply just get IS books or simply just Google logical question answers. The more you practice, the more easier it gets for you to answer logical questions, which is basically how it works. There's no other way to prepare for it. General knowledge is basic. Just watch your news, just read the newspaper. It's not really very heavy general knowledge questions. Then there's some drawing, which again, the more you practice, the better you get at it. So that was pretty much my admissions, the first exam that I went through. And to be honest, the questions itself weren't difficult, but to do all of those questions within that time constraint and to do them better than everybody else is difficult. So when everyone is giving the same exam, and I'm not sure if it's multiple questions currently, but it was multiple questions when I was there, and you know, even that 1 marks matter a lot. So that is kind of where it gets difficult, because then you have to make sure everything you do is correct and everything that you do is within your ability. I would highly advise you, while giving the exams, to do the questions that you know for sure you'll be able to answer. Like the one mistake that I think I did was I started doing the maths questions first, and although I love maths, I'm really bad at percentage and ratio, and I was like, you know what, let's tackle the difficult thing first. That is kind of where I went wrong, because then it did not give me time to do the logical questions, which I was really good at. I don't want to, like, obviously I want to brag, I was really good at them. So, but my time kind of went askew, and that's kind of, I think, where I went wrong. For, you know, for whatever reasons, my rank was low or less or whatever. So manage your time well. That is kind of where you will find a problem. The drawing and everything, yes, it does matter, but it really honestly doesn't matter a lot. Mostly your logical questions and your maths matter in the first test. That's at least what I know. Next comes the situation test, which happens after you've passed the first exam. You get a result and then you have a situation test. In situation test, I would recommend, if you can get coaching, then do get coaching, it does help, because then you have to make you have to do stuff and make stuff. There is sorry, there was a mosquito there. There are some questions and there are some things that you kind of do need help for, because in case you have already taken art and craft classes before, especially craft classes before, then you'll probably be able to do them. But if you've never like done origami, or if you've never made something out of paper, you've never even made like a pen stand out of paper, I would recommend, if you can, get coaching done. If you can't, then go to Pinterest, go to Google, learn a bit of origami, learn simple paper folding. Again, this is 11 years ago, so for us we had to make a pen stand, like not just something that will have a place to put the pens in, but like a proper pen stand, desk organizer basically. And I think we had to make a sketch of something. I don't remember the situation test, but it involved a lot of practical stuff to do. So I would highly advise you to learn origami, because I felt that was something, like I took coaching for the situation test and I felt that it was required, because when I went to the exam hall and when I was told you have to make like a pen desk organizer or whatever, and I was like, shit, if I hadn't taken coaching, I wouldn't have known how to do this. So apart from that, if you can't take coaching, again, I highly recommend you do origami. I am repeating myself, I'm a parrot. Next, how to choose your course and how to choose your center. I hope in terms of course you already kind of know what course you want to do in NIFT. It's better that you already know what you want to do. In case you're confused and you have an option, then I would highly recommend you do fashion design, which is their main course, because in fashion design they teach you almost everything related to other courses as well. So it's the most exhaustive course that they have, and if you do that one course, you can literally do everything else that they teach in other courses. So if you have an option, please choose that. If you do not have an option, the next depends on your passion and what you really want to do. If you want to go into, for example, the social media side of fashion, fashion journalism, fashion photography, for that fashion communication is the thing for you. If you want to kind of stick to garment making and you did not get into fashion design, or for whatever reason it didn't happen, then knitwear design, textile design, product design, there are a lot of other designing fields that you can go into. As for choosing the center, I think everybody knows NIFT Delhi is the best. They have the best facilities, they have the best faculty. If you're getting NIFT Delhi, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't go into NIFT Delhi unless you are not getting the course that you want. So with me, what happened was, I was getting NIFT Delhi, but I was getting fashion communication. I wasn't getting fashion design, and I was hell-bent on doing fashion design, which is why I went to NIFT Bombay. So if you're not getting Delhi, Bombay and Gandhinagar were at that time considered the second best. Bombay was the second best, I think, and Gandhinagar was the third best, but like depends on who you ask basically. Although currently, because there are so many centers of NIFT, I would advise you to try and go into centers which were the first 7 centers of NIFT. So last I checked, there were 13 centers. Just go back and check which were the first 7 centers of NIFT, and if you can get admission in those 7 centers, brilliant. I would highly recommend that you go in those 7 centers instead of the ones that were made after. Not that the education would be different. NIFT is a institute, it's a very good institute, and I'm pretty sure the education everywhere will be the same. It's just the facilities in the original centers would maybe be a little better. I don't know, maybe it's just a personal thing that I feel that the first 7 centers would be better, is why I am saying that. Now about the centers, I would like to specifically talk about NIFT Bombay, because that is where I lived and worked. I think let's take this into the third segment. Life at NIFT Bombay and my whole educational experience. So I got into admission in fashion design at NIFT Bombay, and it was the first time in my life I was kind of moving out of house and living without my parents. And honestly, till the time I got the admission, nobody had ever imagined me moving out. So I have a brother, and we always kind of thought that maybe my brother would have to, leave the city and go study somewhere else, and that didn't happen. He stayed in Delhi. But not in our wildest dream did anybody ever think that Roli might have to leave house and go and study somewhere else. So when I got my admission there, it was kind of really surprising and a little bit worrying too, because nobody thought I would have to go out of Delhi. So when I went there, they do have hostels for I don't know what's the current situation again. Back then they had hostel for only first year girls. So I got admission in hostel and we started living, and initially it was all fun and games because the first week is kind of like slow and you're not divided in, okay, the first year you're not going to be divided into your course. The first year everybody from every courses are mixed together and you're just put into random groups where you study, and then the second year you go into your specialized course. So the first week basically was fun and games, and we had to do things together as a group, and at the end of the week we had to kind of put up a performance, and it was actually a very nice time. And there was a little bit of ragging, but it was mainly intro, and me and my friends, at least, we took it in good spirit and we interacted a lot with our seniors, and we kind of ragged our batchmates as well, but they kind of knew that we were their batchmates, so it was fun again. So it was basically a very happy, nice time. So after the first week finished, the actual course started. Now this is where I kind of want to talk to you guys seriously. Going to NIFT, a lot of people going to NIFT to follow their passion. A lot of people going to NIFT because they got admissions in NIFT. Now this is kind of where it makes all the difference. If you're going to NIFT, or if you're giving the exam simply because you're good at drawing and you would get admission, and you did get admission, I would not recommend going to NIFT for that. A lot of presumptions are that you don't really have to do anything in NIFT. I mean, it's just a design college. All you have to do is draw and make stuff, right? Not really. NIFT involves a lot of hard work. In our first year, at least 5 to 6 people dropped out simply because they could not take the pressure. Mainly because they took admission in NIFT because they weren't getting admission anywhere, and they were good at drawing and everything, and they got admission in NIFT, and they just took admission thinking it'll be all fun and games. It's not. It's actually really hard work. You're working every single day. So in a lot of colleges, like all my engineering friends, they would be chilling the whole year out, and they would be bunking classes, they would be going here, they would be partying, and at the end when the exams happened, they were really busy and they were really focused. In NIFT, it's actually quite the opposite. In NIFT, at least when I was studying there, again, no idea of the current situation. In NIFT, every single day counted. I'm going to specifically talk about fashion design because that's the course that I did. I know fashion communication and knitwear had it a little easy, and they have bunked and they have kind of like not been to classes and still been okay. But specifically in fashion design, you need to attend class every single day because you're taught skills, and skills cannot be retaught, and skills, you can't really take notes and give it to a friend and you will just read a note and understand. It kind of doesn't work that way. So for NIFT and for fashion design, you kind of needed to attend class every single day and actually do submissions and actually do work every single day to learn the whole thing. We were comparatively freer during our exam times, because if you kind of like study the whole year round, if you're working and submitting things the whole year round, the exam time kind of do get easier for us. That's actually the time when we kind of can relax, which is weird, but that's the thing. It's hard work, and a lot of people do not realize that because they're like, fashion college, isme kya karna padega? But I know a lot of fashion colleges where people don't have to do any work. I know a lot of fashion colleges where kids just don't do anything. They just hang out at the end of the semester, submit something crappy, and they pass. But it doesn't happen that way in NIFT. In NIFT, you actually really have to work. So if you're in it for just fun and games, and if you're like, zyada kaam nahi karna padega, I'll get a NIFT degree, I would not recommend you taking admissions, because then you won't be able to cope up with it. Now for me, it was hard work, but me, my friends, all of us were so excited to go to college every day and learn something, because we were passionate for it, because we wanted to learn it, because we felt that is so exciting. We felt honestly that it is more exciting to go to college than to bunk college. So if you have that passion to learn and to just that passion to know, to become a fashion designer and to be in this field, then I would highly recommend you go to NIFT. You're going to enjoy it. But if you don't have that passion, if you don't have that inner then you're not going to enjoy it at all. Okay, one thing I would like to add, any and every opportunity that you get at NIFT, I would highly recommend that you take them. So if you have a volunteering activity to go and intern with a designer for just fashion week, I would highly recommend you go ahead and do that. That helped me immensely. The reason that I got the first job that I did get was because I was interning at some unknown designer for fashion week, and then I met people, then I met other people, and that is kind of how I generated contacts, which was important for me, because in my entire family there's no fashion designer, there is no connection to fashion, nobody knows anybody. So for me it was important to generate my own contacts, because if I didn't, then there would be no way for me to generate contacts basically. Not just that, it gives you a lot of exposure. I think I grew a lot as a person, as a student, as a designer, when I interacted with other people, when I went to fashion shows, when I took that risk of putting myself out there. So if you're getting an opportunity, I would highly recommend you take it. I remember the first time my faculty asked the whole class who would like to volunteer for such and such designer fashion week, and I just put my hands up. I didn't even listen to what the designer name was, because I was like, I want to go to that week and I want to attend it as an insider. I just don't want to go to fashion shows and see a fashion show. And the reason she chose she was like, okay, Roli, you go, was because my hand was up first. So whatever opportunity you get, put your hand up first. Whatever opportunity you get, tell your faculty, I want to do this. Now, internship and summer holidays. So your internship happens in the second year of NIFT. The first year of NIFT you actually don't have, I think it's free, you don't have to do anything the first year summer holidays. Second year is internship, third year is craft documentation. The first summer holidays that you have, when you have absolutely nothing to do, I would advise you to not do absolutely nothing. I would advise you to do things to enhance yourself. I did two, so NIFT also has some summer courses. So I came back to Delhi and I found out about summer courses in NIFT Delhi, and then I did those. One was fashion entrepreneurship and the other was retail management. Now, you don't necessarily have to go to NIFT to do the courses again, but I would advise you to not waste your summer holidays. If you can intern somewhere, intern somewhere. If you have an opportunity to learn a new thing, learn a new thing. Just your college years are the years where you make yourself. You would never be this free to learn, honestly. So the first year summers, don't waste it. Don't waste it on Netflix, don't waste it on YouTube. If you're wasting it right now watching this, then go do something. It's not even summer holidays. I'm just talking to people of the future. So basically, if you can learn something new, please learn something new. The second year you have internship. Now, my advice to you would be, actually my advice is quite contradictory. So what happened during NIFT was that we weren't allowed to intern under designers. We were specifically told that you were supposed to intern at export houses. So that is what happened. But if given an opportunity, I would have probably liked to intern under a designer, because eventually I wanted to open my own brand and eventually I wanted to work with a designer. I really wasn't really interested in going to the export house side. But because they kind of forced us to go and work, in an export house, it also exposed me to a different side of the industry. It exposed me to a different kind of working system, which was beneficial. So maybe take a call on, or maybe talk to your faculty about how you want to go about this. Maybe you can intern at a place you don't want to work at after you leave NIFT, just so that you get a different exposure, you get a different side of the industry to learn about. Or you could should simply, if you get an opportunity to intern at a designer where you eventually want to work with, that is also a good thing, because sometimes companies absorb their interns, which would be brilliant if that happened to you. So maybe I'm not the right person to give that advice, but do think about it if you would like to have like a different exposure and not simply work, intern at a place where you would eventually want to work at. Now the third year, when you go for craft documentation, that is kind of an exciting year. So we went to Siddhi in Madhya Pradesh, and our craft documentation was I can't really call it carpets, but it was basically weaves. It was carpet weaves, and we were supposed to design different things for them. It was a very, very good exposure. So if you're going for craft documentation, don't think of it in a way that, like, we were fashion design students. They send us to a place where carpet weaving happens. So how is the connection, right? I think the most important thing was not about learning how to weave carpets, but more about how to work in situations which were really bad. So we were staying at the best hotel in that place. The best hotel in that place did not have, like, they had windows in the room, but they did not have like glass on the windows. There was a construction site behind it. The rooms were on top of stores, grocery stores. It was horrible conditions. Then the group that we went in, we weren't even the groups that the faculty made were weird. Okay, none of the friends were kept together. It was like they deliberately did this. Like, no friends were kept together, and I think that situation also kind of helped us understand how to work in groups when you don't even know anybody in that group, or you don't even talk to anybody in that group. So it helped us build teamwork. It helped us build strength in working in places where we have no idea how to work in. One faculty that went with us was really bad. He wanted, like, the place was such that the men there used to stare at women. In the 10 days we lived there, only on the last day we saw one woman in that whole place. There was no woman that was out there. Anybody and everybody who was out, the one woman that we did see out there basically was in a ghungat. We were advised to, whenever stepping out of the room, whenever we are going to the car, just put a little ghungat on yourself. We were advised to do that, so you can imagine the kind of place that was, the kind of people there were. And the faculty was like, you know what, why don't you guys continue? I will go and take a little vacation with my family. And well, I got angry basically. That's a different story. But the point is, the faculty was also something that we had to work on, and we had to hold on to, and we were like, please don't leave us here, you're an adult, we are children. So I think that whole experience taught us a lot of things. So if you're not excited about your craft documentation, get excited. It's really, really exciting. It was also a horrible experience for some people, but mostly everybody enjoyed it. Then let's talk about the fashion show. So in the 4th year of NIFT, at the end of your NIFT journey, you in fashion design, and I think in knitwear design also, you are supposed to put up a fashion show, and you're supposed to showcase your talent. And the entire semester, the 8th semester, you're supposed to start with building up the theme, convincing your faculties why that theme is nice, making designs, getting the designs approved, sourcing the fabric, making the garment, making the dummy, making the garment, getting it approved from your guides, getting accessories, choosing the music. Like, you have to put up like a proper fashion show. You even have to get like shoes and accessories and this and that, everything you have to do. So I would advise you to enjoy that process a lot. It's the only time you're going to get to explore your creativity, because once you join the industry, your creativity kind of there are boundaries drawn across your creativity. So I would advise you to enjoy your creativity, but not enjoy it too much, because if you either you can make unwearable garments and just make it in a way that, oh my god, look how creative I am, or you could make wearable garments, which eventually, if you go to export houses, if you go to designers, you can show that, look, this is what I've done, and this is how you can wear this. This is how this is marketable. So anybody and everybody in the industry obviously is looking for designs that they can sell. They're not looking for designs that they can just put up on the wall for display. No, they're looking for designs that they can sell. So even if you are like kind of making a garment which nobody can wear, think of a way of how that you can also make that wearable. So when you go to an industry person or when you go for an interview, in your portfolio you showcase that this is how my garment was on the runway, but next to it you have a sketch of a garment which is actually wearable and commercial for the industry. So while you're doing your runway show, I know it gets a little hard to also think about how to include this in your portfolio, but if you include that in your portfolio, it's brilliant and highly advisable that you do. Now, making your portfolio. This is a tough one. So your portfolio, although you eventually only make one portfolio for yourself, I would advise you to kind of make your portfolio catered in a way to whom you're giving the interviews. So if you want to go and work under a designer, your portfolio would obviously be according to that. It will be a little more flamboyant. It will have new fabrics, new designs, new style. It will say something about you as a designer. But if you're going for an interview, if you want to eventually work in an export house, I would advise you to still have all of that, but also kind of incorporate a more commercial side of you in your portfolio. So like I said before, so if you have like a garment on the runway which is so flamboyant, commercialize that and put that as well. So plus whatever, so in your portfolio you also put whatever assignments you've done in your 4 years of NIFT. So of course you do a lot of assignments, you do a lot of submissions. So which one you want to choose and pick also depends on which side of the industry that you want to work for. Let's talk about post-NIFT and getting that job. Oh, this is a toughie. This is a toughie simply because I hate jobs. So personally speaking, from my experience, college placements are great. College placements are great if you give placements at the center that you have studied in. So faculties they won't admit it, but they do have kind of a say of who gets jobs where. So if I'm from NIFT Bombay, then Bombay placements, whenever they happen, there would be a preference from the company to pick me. But if say somebody from NIFT Bangalore comes, the Bombay company would probably not like pick the Bangalore person above me, except of course if the person is really good at what they do. Similarly, in Delhi, a lot of people come. Even I came for Delhi placements, and after coming here, a lot of seniors told us that you're not going to get it. None of you are going to get placements here. And none of the Bombay people or none of the people from other centers got placements from Delhi, simply because people in Delhi prefer people in Delhi. Now this is a little inside thing. This might have changed in the last 11 years. Not 11 years. I passed out in 2010. So this might have changed the last 7 years. I don't know. But there is a preference, which is why I have asked you to make contacts during that fashion week. Because then the contacts help. So if I wanted, I could have gotten a job in Bombay, but I really wanted to come back to Delhi, so I gave the interviews in Bombay half-hearted, or I even didn't give the interviews. In Delhi, when we found this out, I was really disappointed, but I was also okay, because at that time my health was affected by my weight, and I want to kind of take a break just for my health, for losing weight, which sounds ridiculous, but honestly it was the most important thing that I did for myself. So it did affect me immediately that I did not have a job, because I did not want a job immediately, but it did bother me that placements in Delhi did not go well. So after I came back to Delhi, I started, like, once I was a little better health wise, I started calling up designers that I knew, and I started looking up designers that had vacancies. So that is kind of how I found my first job, simply because I had interned at an unknown designer stall booth, which honestly that internship wasn't even like anything fancy. All I had to do was stand at the designer's booth all day. That is all that I had to do, and I had to fetch water and I had to fetch coffee. That was my first internship at a fashion week. I wasn't even allowed to watch a lot of shows. I watched like a couple of crappy shows, like the morning shows, which are like, I don't want to call them crappy because they're brilliant shows, but they're obviously all the major shows. When you're a student, you want to watch all the top designers, and all those shows happen at night and you're not allowed to go in those. So I watched all the morning shows. Even the morning shows, I didn't watch all of them. Like, I watched the ones I had permission to go to. So when the designer wanted to sit in the stall and relax and chit chat with her friends, that is when I had permission to go and watch the show. So it wasn't anything fancy, but that is where I made my contacts, and that is how it helped me land my first job. Now, working in the industry and jobs. It's not easy to get jobs, and it's not easy working in the industry. It's how do I put it? It's like any other industry. You have mean bosses, you have long hours, I'm really like this. I think I shouldn't put this in the end because this would kind of put you off from taking admissions in NIFT. But to be honest, it's like any other industry. You can either A, enjoy it or B, not enjoy it. I have friends who absolutely enjoy working their butt off. I have friends who hate it. So working under a designer, you don't get paid much, but then you get a lot of, like, if you want to eventually have a design brand of your own, then you get a lot of exposure. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about jobs in life after NIFT. The one thing I would like to add, I think in the end is, I really don't know what else to say about the job in post NIFT life. If you have any questions, comment that down below. I will try and answer all of them. I do want to put this in the end and say that my education at NIFT has helped me a lot. The only and only reason I can do YouTube, the only and only reason that I am kind of okay with criticism that I face on YouTube, or that I kind of know how to do editing and found it a little easier to work on softwares, is because of NIFT. Because they didn't teach us editing on softwares, but I was exposed to a lot of softwares which made it easier for me to learn editing quickly. NIFT has also kind of given me an opportunity to learn to do research, and that is again what helped me in YouTube. I researched how to do editing, I researched YouTube as a whole, and I feel that education, the NIFT fashion design course is actually very brilliant. It's brilliant. It's not just for fashion design, it gives you exposure, it opens up your creativity, it makes you a different person. You become so much more mature and you learn so much more that it helps you do other things in life. So even if like after NIFT, like for me, after NIFT I felt that maybe, designing isn't the field that I really, like, it's something I wanted to study, but it wasn't something that I wanted to work for throughout my life. But that education still is helping me every single day. The way our faculties used to criticize our designs and say this is good, that is not good, or how we learn to work in a team during the whole craft documentation process, all of this has helped me do what I do right now. All of this has helped me be the person that I am right now, and I have NIFT to thank for that. And I feel it's a brilliant institute, and if you're getting an opportunity and if you really want to do this, then go ahead and do this. It's going to be the best 4 years of your life. It was brilliant. I loved every single moment of it, and I wouldn't change a thing. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, and if you like videos like this where I talk about my experiences on things, then give it a big thumbs up. Also, if there is any other experience that you would like me to talk about, comment that down below, and don't forget to click that subscribe button because I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!